I'm Bob Bakert with Jazz Guitar Today. We're here with John Stowell. Is that your pronunciation? How do you pronounce it, John?
That is correct. Just like a mink, but a different spelling. Stowell. That's it.
Stowell. Okay. I grew up north, and I thought that was correct.
It
So
is.
I'm listening to we're all listening to, if you can hear it, Skylark by you, and pronounce her name for me
Yeah,
correctly.
she is Korean. Her name is Yoonmi Kang, and her husband Sang Young Park is a wonderful guitar player. I met the two of them in Italy about 4 years ago when a friend brought myself, Sang Yon, and Marco Chepak and I together for a little guitar summit. And Yoonmi came along. She was not scheduled to work, but she came along for the trip. And they're both wonderful musicians and really nice folks. So I just reached out to them about the possibility of visiting them in Korea. So I went the first time a few years ago, and we did some. I'm not sure if I sent you the link for the concert we did with the three of us. I can send that to you.
No, I have the one with the two of you.
Okay,
Hey, John, move a little bit to your left, just
to
like
my left.
an inch. There you
Not
go.
that
Uh,
better.
right there is perfect. Yeah,
Great,
now you're centered.
great. So
And then
you
the
and
other
me,
thing I'm sorry, one more thing.
you bet.
All right, take your computer. You're on your computer or phone?
I'm on an iPad right now.
iPad. Can you put it like under a book and raise it about 2 or 3 inches?
Yeah. Let me do that. If I'm a little low, hang on.
We just don't want to look up your nose if you don't want us to.
Okay, I got it. Hang on. Let me just take the keypad off here.
We'll start out. We'll kind of start over again.
Okay. Is that a little better, Bob?
Uh, yeah, but you want to move it to your left a little bit so that you're looking at us rather than, do you know where the camera is on your iPad?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm trying. If I'm looking at you, I guess
Yeah,
that
I
looks
know it's hard to look at me. One of these days they're going to put a camera inside of a screen
right.
and have it concentric so that when you're talking to people, you can every once in a while look over to the camera just to let us know that you love us.
So, how about that? I think the camera's over here someplace.
No, it's down a little bit from there, but it's okay. We'll just keep going. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey everybody. I'm Bob Bakert with Jazz Guitar Today, and we're here with John Stowell, who has got a new project he wants to tell us all about. And I listened to it today, and it's definitely worth listening to.
Thank you,
John,
Bob.
what are you doing to yourself, man? You are carving out some serious work. I mean,
Well, me and lots of other folks, but what I do essentially is reach out to folks all the time to try to create new collaborations. So
yeah,
Yoonmi Kang is the vocalist on this. She's based in Seoul in South Korea.
right,
And her husband, Sang Young Park, is a wonderful guitarist. And I met the two of them in Italy about 4 years ago. There was a man there named Lorenzo Comignoli who brought a guitar summit together with myself, Sang Yon, and Marco Čepek from Slovenia, who's an old friend. And
right.
you and me came along for the trip. She was not scheduled to play, but I met the two of them there in Italy. And we had a great time together. And you and me and I just ended up sitting down and recording a few things in the living room of the rented house we were all rehearsing. And I realized what a great singer she was.
Oh my God.
So I reached out to them to try to do some work in South Korea together. So they brought me over the first time a few years ago. We did some trio concerts, and then Yoonmi and I went into the studio, and that is the result of our collaboration, A Timeless Place. And so that it was recorded a few years ago, it just was released this year. And we've gotten some nice reviews, and actually the Cadence critics gave us one of the top 10 best CDs of 2025, which is a nice little pat on the back.
Yeah, I'd say so. Um, I'll tell you a few things listening to it. Um, well, first of all, you're not. She is a piano player. She plays the.
She's a wonderful pianist as well, jazz and classical. She does
Yeah,
both.
and so she can accompany herself because I watched her do it and I listened to her
Absolutely,
do
she
it.
can.
She's very, very good. Yet she chose to have you accompany her on this very uh, adventurous CD that you guys go on. And where I was going is that she has complete control of her voice.
She does indeed.
Yeah, her intervallic control is as good as it needs to ever be. It's great, and the phrasing that she chooses is um, it's just really, it's very tasteful, but it's very technical in a sneaky way.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree. She also has perfect time, which means I don't need to really babysit
she
her or
does
worry.
have that was my next comment, is that, and her time is impeccable. Her
Yes,
sense
it,
of harmony is very developed because you can hear her choices in her phrasing. So where I'm going with this is that she knows like everything that you're doing, and yet she has complete trust in you as a player, which is because she's going places that she knows that you're not going to get lost in,
no.
and you're taking her places that allows her to um just completely be confident in the trail, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And
and we've only had a few. I mean, we had never done any duo gigs together prior to this recording, but
yeah.
I knew what an accomplished singer she was. She also has classical training on piano and jazz training, so she's a really quite a complete musician. So I knew right away that I didn't need to worry about anything. Some of the things, Bob, as you may have noticed from listening, or we're done rubato out of time, and
Oh yeah.
she also values space and not hurrying things, letting things kind of unfold in a very organic way. So it was very easy to record with her.
Well, I love I love rubato. I love when people let the time float, and you can only do that if it comes back to a place that has time. In other words,
That's right.
you have to really know what you're doing when you start playing with time, which is my favorite thing to listen to. When I hear people playing with time, I know they're very sophisticated,
Yeah.
and it perks my ear, and I think it perks everybody's ear, but they don't know why it does, you know?
Yeah. I particularly like voice and guitar. It's an intimate conversation that I love. If you're going back to Joe Passanella and Tuck and Patty, I mean, we're not the first duo to do this, obviously, but it's a very kind of an intimate conversation that I think she and I both really like to do.
It's the first time I've ever heard anybody do it in this very floaty way. Let's call
Mhm.
it that, you know. The
Yeah,
her voice just floats.
it does.
She reminds me, I mean, this is terrible, and she may take this as an insult. And I don't mean it that way. I mean it as a complete compliment. But she reminds me of a little bit of Art Garfunkel.
Well, that kind of ethereal quality to the
Yeah,
voice, I
that
think.
ethereal quality where it just is the voice just floats and it takes you places. And that's the way that Art Garfunkel, sang with so much of his vocal quality.
I think she'd probably take that as a compliment.
I hope so, because I meant it that way. Absolutely. That um to hear her tone quality and her control is great. So
Yeah.
tell us about the project. It's called A Timeless Place.
Sure, it's mostly older standards, although she does a beautiful job on the Jimmy Rolls tune, the Peacocks, and that bridge is very difficult to sing, and that's a Norma Winston lyric. That's probably my favorite track on the record, actually, although I think she sings standards beautifully too. So it's mostly pretty well-known tunes. I had a little modulation on like Someone in Love, where I took my solo to another key and then we brought it back to her key. But clearly, we're not trying to come up with complicated arrangements here. There wasn't time to do it. So the idea was just to select some tunes that were comfortable and easy for us to have some intimate conversations with.
Yeah, but you can put that CD on when you're with your loved one, and
Yeah, it's very chill. Everything is slower tempos to rubato. There's nothing fast on there.
yeah.
Although she's certainly capable of scatting at faster tempos, but the idea was just to kind of create a mood, which hopefully we did.
Yeah, well, like I said, you could in times past, you could have in my case, you could have a lady friend over, and maybe have a glass of wine or something, and
Yeah, I think it's good music for that. It's music to relax to, I think.
yeah.
But if so you don't necessarily have to tune in, but if you want to tune in, I think there also is some substance there.
Oh no, no, it works if you tune in. There's no question about it. I mean, it's a beautifully done project.
Bob, I appreciate that.
I mean, it really is. It's really, really nice, and I can understand why they like it so much, because it's I've never heard anything like it, to
I
be
appreciate
honest with you. I've heard a lot of really good duo records, and I've heard a lot of really good duo, singer, guitar player, singer, piano player, all that kind of thing.
it. Mhm.
Um, but they're usually not as well, they're never as ethereal as this is. This is a whole different world of where it wants to take you.
Bob, I appreciate that. Yeah, I've had a lot of experience working with great singers. So I think I know how to accompany a singer pretty well. And
I'd say very well, John.
I'm still a work in progress, but I think I have an idea about how I'd like to accompany a singer.
Well,
And
yeah.
and Yunmi also has that experience playing in duo with guitar players. Her husband Sang Yeon is a terrific guitar player also. And we actually, when I was back there, and I went back a second time to play with them and do some more recording this past August. And we did another recording as a trio. And if that comes out, I'll certainly let you know. And she's
Yeah.
playing some piano on that one. She actually can scat very sophisticated lines and double them in unison on the piano. And she does that on a few of the numbers on this recording. We went to a great studio in August with a terrific grand piano and good sound. So I'm not sure if we'll release that, but I'll sure let you know if we do.
Yeah, please, 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 please do, because
Of course.
I'd be very interested in hearing that.
Yeah. I'm happy to keep you up to date on anything I'm doing, and I always appreciate the exposure and the
Oh yeah. Well, let me ask you a question about your own playing. You float as well. I mean, your
yeah.
playing has an ethereal quality about it. You move in and out of complex harmonies. And I mean, you're unique. Your style is, it's not kind of like this guy or kind of like this guy. It's definitely all you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I kind of found my own way quite a while ago, and I'm still trying to refine it and make it better.
Yeah, you did. You've been playing your style for a long, long time. But I every time I hear it, it's you're further up the mountain, if you will.
Believe me, I'm still a work in progress. I'm sure you feel that way about your playing too.
I don't know what I am with my playing. I play every day. I mean,
Well, that's
I
me
put
too.
I put hours in. I've got the guitar in my hands every day. And
That's great.
I think I'm going in the other direction, though. But anyway, this isn't about me. It's about you.
Well, if
Um,
I'm ever down your way, we'll sit down and play a few tunes together.
oh well, that would be
Let's do it.
interesting. Yeah, let me know if you ever come.
I shall.
I'll show you what I do, how I go about it.
I shall.
Um, so tell us a little bit more. So the record's out.
Yeah, the record's out. I think we'll probably do some more work together, maybe in Europe, because they've also toured in Europe where I met them.
Yeah.
So we're still in contact. And so I would hope to either go back to South Korea for a visit for a bit more playing with them, or maybe we'll meet in Europe. We don't have anything planned right now, but I would love to work more with them. They're a really sweet couple. I've stayed with them now a couple of times in Seoul, and now they're living in a little house up in the mountains, about a half an hour outside the city, kind of a
Oh
beautiful
wow.
rural location in a little village. And they're both pretty busy teaching and doing some gigs, and they also have done some touring in Europe, as I mentioned. They actually met over there when they were both studying in the Netherlands, and then they decided to go back to Korea, where they've been based now for a while again.
No,
But I think they're doing pretty well there.
is
There's
that
actually
is that where they're from? Are they
yeah,
from Korean
yeah,
nationals?
yeah, they're from Seoul, but they met in the Netherlands when they were both studying their different schools. I can tell you there is a jazz scene in Korea for sure. I met some of the other musicians who are friends of theirs that we played with, and we did a festival there 2 years ago in Ulsan, big festival. And there were 4 or 5 bands, and everybody was playing at a very high level. And then we played some smaller venues, more like coffee house vibes around Seoul. And everybody who showed up was 19 years old. I mean, there's a young jazz audience there that's very enthusiastic.
Isn't that crazy?
I think it's great.
I think it's wonderful, but it's crazy because in the U.S., that's not the case.
Yeah, it's generally speaking an older jazz audience here, although in some venues I am seeing younger folks showing up, thankfully. But I tell the great younger players, please try to introduce your friends to this music so you guys will have an audience that you'll be able to play to. And I think that the smart young musicians know this, and I think they're working on it.
I believe that to be the case. I've got friends that live in China,
Hmm.
and there's a strong, strong jazz scene over there.
Yeah,
Um,
Shanghai and Beijing,
yeah,
there
he
are
was
some
telling
clubs.
me that there are 5 jazz clubs he can walk to that have guitar.
Nice. Yeah,
You know,
Shanghai has 23 million people. I'm not sure what Beijing does, but I think there's scenes in both of those cities. I've worked a couple of times in Hong Kong. There's a small scene there with some clubs and places where expats like to go hear jazz. And I was in Bangkok one time. There's a little jazz scene there. And I've got another friend based right now in Vietnam, and he's you don't make a lot of money playing gigs, but he's quite busy there actually teaching and playing. So I think there's jazz all over Asia. Japan probably has the strongest scene, but there's jazz all over Asia. Absolutely.
Well, I think that's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
do you know of Josh Meter, who's down in
Uh,
Australia?
yeah, he's great. I don't know him personally. He's a little
Yeah.
virtuoso, absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a, I mean, he and his colleagues down there are creating, quite a scene. Now he's
He's
definitely,
great.
he's a, more of a, I don't know, I hate to use the term new school, but he's kind of a new old school guy, He's,
Yeah, he's got. Like, I just saw him song playing Debussy. Actually, it was perfect.
oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
He's,
he's terrific. You know who also moved back? He's taught for many years in Munich. I did a workshop with him there. But Peter O'Mara is originally from Australia, and he moved back. He's a terrific guitar player. I'm not sure if he's in Sydney. And also James Morrison, you might know of, is an incredible multi-instrumentalist. He
yeah.
plays trumpet, saxophone, piano. He plays almost all. He's got a video where he's in a big band. He's playing all the instruments except, I think, except drums.
Isn't
With I don't know
isn't
how he
that
does it.
amazing? It amazes me that people can do that. I mean, I know there are people out there that can do that, and
Like
they,
Jacob Collier, but
it
James
just,
Morrison is a real virtuoso. He's based in, I think, in Melbourne, and he's terrific too.
it
So
just,
there are definitely some good Australian jazz musicians.
oh
Like,
yeah. Well, it's and there's the population there is not not that great. So
it's not.
when you start looking at the pool of potentials,
Yeah,
and you realize how good that it's pretty uncanny
yeah,
that we've got 300 what 60 million 370 million people. And a lot of towns don't have a jazz scene at all. They've got no jazz clubs.
yeah,
They've got no place
yeah.
to play.
Well, there
And
are
that,
great jazz musicians all over the world, as you probably know. They're
yeah,
spread
they're
all over.
absolutely, yeah, I've interviewed people from pretty much everywhere, South
Yeah.
America,
Oh yeah. I've been down
Mexico,
many times to Argentina.
us.
There's
Yeah.
definitely a jazz scene there. I think all the South American countries have some jazz. It's certainly all over Europe. I've got a
Yeah.
friend in Iceland who plays well. So I mean they're all over the world, thankfully.
Well, Ulf is up there and,
He's in Gothenburg, which is a city I know.
yeah,
Absolutely.
he was up there in that part of the world. And I mean, he's pretty, pretty,
Ulf,
pretty high cotton guy.
Ulf is great.
Yeah, he is. He is great. So, so what are you doing, man? You are one of the most traveling people that I know. What's up
Yeah,
with?
I'm on the road about 6 months, 7 months of the year, Bob. So I was just in Europe for a couple of months. I was in 7 countries, bouncing around there this fall. I did some filming for Guitar Vivo for some new book content. I've got one out with them already, and there'll be more coming with them hopefully. And I've got relatively new course with Modern Guitar Harmony, and so I'm still creating educational content. And I drive up and down the West Coast in the car a couple of times a year. Then I fly east a couple of times a year to do some dates around New England, that area. And then I get over to Europe. I'm going to be in Europe twice actually next year in March with my friend David Friesen and a very good guitar player based in Prague named Libor Swoldas, who I haven't met in person yet. But I introduced David and Libor together. They played together last fall, and we're going to do some trio work in March in Germany and Austria and the Czech Republic. And then I'll be back again in the fall. So, in my case, there's no manager. It's a network of friends that I
Right.
reach out to that I can teach and play with. And so I've been doing this since the late 1970s with David Friesen. And we took a long break, and now we're back playing together again. So we're doing some work together on the West Coast, and then some things in Europe, as I mentioned in March.
Where are you right now? Where are you?
I live in Portland, Oregon, and I'm at home now.
Yeah. I should have known that you were in Portland, Oregon.
I am.
You do strike me as a Portland guy.
Well, I'm originally from the Northeast, Bob, but I've been out here. I met David Friesen actually at a little club in the Village in New York in
Yeah.
'76, and he invited me out to Oregon in the summer of '76. I had no plans to live in Portland, Oregon, but
Yeah.
we started playing and touring together. So I've never lived back on the East Coast full time since '76. I kept my place there for a couple of years, but I've been based in Portland since the mid 1970s, traveling with David initially for about 7, 8 years, and then doing it on my own since about '83. And then, like I said, we reconnected a few years ago, and then we're back doing some playing together again.
Wow, that's tremendous. Um, yeah, I have a friend that has three daughters, and they all moved to Portland, and
Really, you
so
should come
she
out to
did.
visit sometime.
Well, they were there for a long time, and now they're all moving to L.A. They're all
Okay, really? Okay.
yeah, which is and I did go out to Portland and had a good time, had a really good
If you're
time.
coming again, please let me know. I'd be happy to see you out there.
If I ever do, I will. I appreciate that invitation.
You're invited.
It was a very, very, it's a very, very cool place to be. Now, this was about God, 5 or 6 years ago, I
Yeah.
was out there, something
And the
like
town
that.
has grown substantially since I showed up here, but it's still this, it's more crowded and expensive, but it's still a nice city.
Well, that's like Atlanta. I mean, I
Yeah.
came to Atlanta in the 70s, and
Yeah.
it was.
Sure.
I remember they used to have a population thing, and when it ticked 1 million people, for the metro area,
Right.
and now I guess it's
You're 2 million
probably,
now?
oh, it's like 7.
7? Wow.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's in that ballpark. If it's in the high sixes, if not the
Okay.
there's a lot of people. It's grown like crazy. Well, when the Olympics came here, it went nuts. That was
Okay.
'96.
Okay.
And that's what started the great big, let's discover Atlanta. And then of course
Okay.
we got the busiest airport in the world. So
That
that,
I knew. I know
you
Hartsfield's the
know,
busiest airport.
yeah. And then there's a lot of there was a lot of filming being, movies and TV and all
Hmm.
that being, and there still is a lot, but not. About 4 years ago, we had kind of reached Marvel was here, and they were making
Hmm.
a lot of their movies were being made here. So, there's a lot of reasons for people to be here, and they're
Hmm.
but you talk about growth, I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
Uh,
we have.
so let's talk about what's going on for you in the near future. This
Yeah.
record, this
Yeah,
record's out. Excuse me. This record is out and it's
one is out.
available.
Yeah, yeah, we did some more recording, as I mentioned, in August with Sangyeon and Yumi as a trio. I
Right.
hope that baby will be released. I'd love to do a recording with David Friesen. We've talked about maybe doing a live recording. Nothing planned yet, but that's maybe potentially in the works. I've got a working band in Seattle called Scenes with tenor bass and drums, and I've got probably 25 projects on the Origin label, which is run by two drummers, one of whom I play with in this group, John Bishop. And that label has over 700 CDs in the catalog now. It's been around for about 25 years. So I would love to put out something else with Origin fairly soon, maybe. I did a bunch of recording in Europe when I was over there with different guitar players, so some of those may come out. My friend Jens Christian Kvella in North Denmark, we recorded. My friend Mickey Lee in Vienna, we recorded. I did some recording with some friends in Finland, Martin Soderbacka and his wife, Evelota. So I did 3 or 4 recordings in Europe when I was over there this fall. And there's a really great young guitar player in London named Tom Raymond. And we talked about doing some recording maybe next year. He sounds a lot like Pete Bernstein. He's wonderful.
Oh
I think
yeah.
you've done some things with Tom, maybe. He's terrific. So some ideas, for recording in the new year. Nothing released yet, but I think I'll probably put something on next year.
Well, let me ask you a question about that while we got a few more minutes here. If you've got
Sure,
them, I've got them.
I do.
When you're working with other musicians, because you do a lot of solo work or
Yeah.
when you're working with other musicians, let's say drums and a tenor player and all that kind of stuff, how does that inform your playing? What does that tell your brain?
Well, I mean, every musical conversation is different. So you just kind of assess quickly what is required for that particular musical conversation. If you have musical history with somebody, obviously it makes it easier. So I've got some friendships, like the one with David, that goes back 50 years. So
Right.
we can still challenge each other and make it interesting. But there's a level of trust there built up over so much time playing together.
So I
And,
want to explore that a minute, just for people that are kind of getting into. I know I usually ask questions I kind of know the answer to. So if I
all right.
sound, um, but I want to get your take on it, and that is, uh, when we were all coming along playing, cover bands and stuff like
Hmm.
that, dances in the '70s and the '60s, actually in the '60s for me.
Hmm. Me too.
Yeah, all right. We basically learned the song and played the song. We didn't have conversations. We played we played the chart, if you know what.
Right.
There were no charts, but you know what I mean. We just played the tune.
Right.
And but this music, when it's played at a high level, is all about the conversation.
Absolutely. That to me is the most interesting part of the music, Bob. I
Right,
mean,
of
what can
course.
we do to sort of draw on each other's resources to create something together? So if I'm soloing, at least 30, if I'm assuming I'm playing with other musicians and not playing alone, at least 40% of my energy is directed to what's going on around me to see if I can tap into it and somehow use something rhythmically, harmonically, melodically that the other folks are giving me. And part of that is leaving enough space for the conversation to unfold. So I tell other guitar players, listen to singers and horn players. Jim Hall had the same advice to leave intentional space, and that then allows the conversation to happen in a way that wouldn't happen if you're filling everything up with eighth notes. Does that make sense?
It makes more than sense. It's in acting, we say, you know, there are actors out there that give their lines and then they wait until they can give their lines again. They don't
Yeah,
listen to
yeah.
the
Yeah,
other
to
players.
me, it's about, and sometimes I like soloing together with other musicians, and that tradition goes back to Dixieland. But if you
Yeah.
listen to any of Jim Hall's trios, Bill Evans trios, Lee Konitz like to do this too. This notion of improvising together in a way that feels like you're not just soloing as though you're the only soloist, but
I
you're
love
a
that
lot of
stuff.
space. Yeah, and
I love that stuff because
I
you
do
can hear
too.
the weaving and the you know, you're creating a tapestry, if you will. You're
That's
creating a
right.
weave, and I
Yeah,
love it when we get you get two to even three people because they've got to really listen and find their place, and
that's right.
it's so when I listen to music, when I listen to soloists, or when I mean Frank Vignola's got a wonderful Wednesday
Frank
night
is great.
going on. Yeah, he's great. I mean, to me he's just amazing to me, and I love him. I really do. But um, but when I watch his show on Wednesday nights at Birdland,
Hmm.
I'm paying at least as much attention to what the other guys are doing
Hmm.
as I am to the quote unquote soloist.
Yeah, me too.
You know, and that I think is because that's their contribution to it, and I want to know what they're thinking. I want to see how they handle that. You know, to me that's really it's really interesting. I don't know if the analogy is horrible, the metaphor is horrible, but it's more I'm more interested in the side dishes than I am the duck. You know what
Yeah, I
I
think that's
mean?
right. I mean, I think there's a real art to accompaniment to be able to give the solo something to react to without interrupting their flow. It's a very fine line, actually. And some solos really don't want a lot of interaction. They just want you
Uh,
to accompany them in a very basic way. Other solos prefer more of a real conversation. And I think I'm in that category.
I believe it was Herbie Hancock and Miles Davis.
Hmm.
And Herbie, this is a story I think I've repeated it more than once, but Herbie hit a wrong note.
I know this story. It's based on So What, which is just two chords.
Yeah,
Either he was playing D minor when he should have been playing E flat minor or vice versa.
right.
And Miles stopped for a minute and then he made that choice sound right. And Miles didn't say anything to Herbie, but Herbie took that as an important lesson. Just be in the moment with the music and whatever is happening, make it into
No,
something creative.
Miles corrected it in the ears of everybody listening.
That's right.
You know,
And I
and
think that's what all the training is for, to have good enough ears,
yeah,
enough vocabulary at your disposal to try to make any moment musical. You know,
which
what serves the conversation at this moment.
which circles us back to your record, A Timeless Place, because the
Mhm.
two of you have have got to listen with big ears, and you
Yeah,
obviously you are. But I mean that is the ultimate challenge. The way that you two went about this music that you're addressing, it requires mastery of all of those things,
yeah,
and you really have to pay attention. Like if you got a quartet or even a trio quintet like that, you know the other guy's paying attention. I'm going to go. I don't smoke, but I'm going to go out for a smoke. You know what I mean? I mean it's like
yeah,
metaphorically.
yeah,
And but when you're there in it with just one other person at that level,
yeah,
you've got to. It's more than a conversation. You're if you both aren't pulling your weight, it's the thing's gonna fall down.
yeah,
You know, to the sophisticated listener, it might not to somebody that isn't paying attention or doesn't know what to listen for.
yeah.
But what makes your recording great is that it's all there. I mean, you
I
guys
do
are
appreciate it, Bob. Well,
yeah,
like I said, we have not that much history together playing as a duo, but I could tell that she was such an accomplished musician that I knew we'd have a nice time in the studio. I think it worked pretty well, and I think
yeah.
if we have a chance to play
No,
some together,
it
it'll continue to evolve probably. But
well,
I think
have you ever met somebody that you just, you just can talk? First time or for a couple times you've talked, and every time you get together, you can just have a conversation and it's meaningful and it's
yeah, that's
you
right.
can
The
and
other,
with the
that's right.
right people, with the right chemistry and the right people, it's easy.
That's right. And also the fact that we both have a lot of experience in this setting. I'm
Yeah.
sure Yunmi has played duo with Sang Young many times, so she's comfortable with playing with just guitar in a duet setting. It's based on playing with Sang Young, her husband. So I knew we'd have a nice conversation, and it was very relaxed and easy. Almost everything was a first or second take.
Well, what's interesting is, I challenge our listeners to, or watchers and listeners and subscribers. Which, oh, by the way, while we're here, if you like this kind of material with John, please subscribe, ring bells, share, do all the things that you're supposed to do to help, YouTube pages and Facebook pages and Instagram pages survive. It really does helps us with the algorithm. You probably have all heard that speech, but if you like it, so please subscribe and do all those things, thumbs up, everything, because it does matter how they position us going forward. So that's a big deal. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. Here's where I know that two masters are at work. Either one of you can absolutely stop playing and the music will not fall apart.
That's right.
And
You know,
that,
the ideas have a shared pulse and a shared sense of harmony, rhythm, how to leave space. So, and very often I'm getting to a chord a beat early or a beat late. Very often we're both phrasing over the bar, but we have that internalized sense of form. So we're not really worried about whether or not someone's getting to a chord a beat earlier. There's a reinterpretation of the harmony. All those things are just part of the way we react in the moment, playing the music together. And I knew it would be fun and easy, and I had absolute confidence in you and me just based on playing with her a few times prior to going into the studio.
yeah, I don't think of it as early and late. I think of it as early and late.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
if that makes any sense at all.
It does.
There's one is, oh God, I'm early, and one is, no, I think I'm gonna mosey on in there, or
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
basically, it's just reacting to each other in the moment. And,
yeah,
occasionally the best choice to make is a simple choice rhythmically and harmonically. Just land on a downbeat with a simple chord just to kind of check in. So the
right.
idea is not to be complex for the sake of complexity, but to play in that way when it serves the moment. And in other moments, it's best just to play something very simple and direct and right on the downbeat.
Well, John, I appreciate it. The record is called A Timeless Place, and it's with Yunmi Kang.
Yun Mi Kang, yes, out of and she's based in
Yunmi
Seoul, and
Kang out of Seoul, Korea, and I've had some experience with with some Korean people. I love them. They're the closest thing in Asia to Americans.
they are courteous and very friendly, and I hope to go back and visit
Yeah,
play with
no,
them.
they're great people. The guy that I worked with from Korea was he actually was educated at Purdue
Okay,
and it was a ranking officer in the Korean Army, which of course
wow,
you kind of had to be. His
okay,
father was a the same thing, and he was over here. We represented them in a business sense,
okay,
and
huh.
God, what a nice guy. I mean, he was
Yeah,
great, and we hit it off. We got along, and he was just saying that it's a very cool culture over there.
yeah, very a little like the Japanese, very polite, deferential, not in a way that's obsequious,
Yeah.
very
Is it
friendly
a
and
little
welcome.
bit is let me ask you this question. Is it a little bit more Americanized than Japan?
That's a good question. I haven't spent enough time in Japan to really make the comparison, Bob, but perhaps. I mean, Seoul is a big modern city. It's
Yeah,
only 15, 20 million people. It's a big city, but uh, driving was courteous, not crazy. The city looks like it's pretty well uh, developed in terms of infrastructure, and I
right.
feel very comfortable being there.
I have a lot of friends from Japan because I worked with a couple Japanese companies, but one in particular for 30 years I worked with, and I had a lot of friends from Japan.
Okay.
And then I had some friends from Korea, and the
Mm-hmm.
Korean friends I had, I mean, I loved them all. They were all great people,
Mm-hmm.
and I love multicultural. I love going into a park like Central Park or down here is Piedmont Park, and hearing all the languages go. I
Me
mean,
too.
I love that. I
Me
feel
too.
like I'm a member of the world when that happens, and I
Me
absolutely
too.
love it. And but anyway, getting back to this Korea thing, it felt like the Korean guys were like, Bill and Tom down at the bar, even though I don't drink, but Bill and Tom, like guys that would, I could have played baseball with or
Oh,
whatever. And
interesting.
and the Japanese guys were definitely, they were definitely Japanese, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
If that makes any sense at all.
It does. I mean, like I said, I haven't spent enough time in Japan to
Yeah.
compare, but
But
perhaps you
I
know more than I.
but I had like in 30 years you get to know these guys pretty well
Right.
and
Well,
they were all wonderful. Well, that's it for me, kid, unless you got something else you want to talk about.
Bob, I really appreciate the exposure and please, anyone listening, please continue to support what Bob is doing with the magazine. And Bob, I really appreciate the
Oh,
exposure
listen,
always.
thank you very much for saying that. I was going to say that, you've been great in sending us people and,
It's always
anytime,
my pleasure.
anytime you got stuff that you want to send or let us know about, doesn't have to be an interview. It can be just a quick write-up or an article or stuff like that. And by the way, people out there, the best way to get a hold of me is to send me an email, bob@jazzguitartoday.com. Do not messenger me on Instagram or Facebook. I don't look at that, but once in a blue moon, and when I do, and I see all these messages that I miss, I can't look at it because I get too much spam on there. It would take me all day, every day to go through the spam.
Email
Uh,
is better.
yeah, just email bob@jazzguitartoday.com. That's the best. And I will respond to you. Um, and whatever you want, any suggestions that you have or things you'd like to see or people or musicians or something like that, the more information you can give me, the better off we all are.
Great.
And so your guitar that you're playing, last thing I'm going to ask, are you still playing your same instrument?
Yeah, I've got multiple instruments when I'm not flying, but the guitar that I take on the airplane was built for me by Roscoe Wright. This little travel guitar is called a Soloette,
Uh-huh.
which it has a collapsible frame and a graphite neck. And I've had that guitar for 20 years on
Right.
hundreds of flights, and it's always inside the cabin with me. So that's
Yeah.
my kind of go-to guitar for the airplane.
Yeah. Well, that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
John, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
It's a great project. I love it. I wish you well with it.
Thank you, Bob.
Someday we should probably get you and me on with you.
That would be fun. If we're in Korea, maybe we could arrange an interview
Yeah,
together.
that would be great. Listen, if that happens, let me know because I would
I
love
will.
to do that. And
That would be fun.
also, the other thing I was going to tell you is live videos are gold for me. That's what I really really like. I want to see the conversations unfold. I want to see that people are paying attention to each other. I'm telling everybody this.
Okay.
I prefer live videos. Go to YouTube. Always set up a camera, your iPhone and all that. Live videos are what I want to see. I don't want to hear what's been corrected in the studio. I don't want to hear all the edit. I don't want to
You
hear
like in the moment.
I want to hear what you really do. I want to be a part of your conversation.
Okay.
That's the most impressive thing for me is what you actually play with other people, for real. Not what you do if you can, under clinical circumstances and all that. Now, that being said, I also respect Scott Henderson, who says, I'm not doing theater, I'm making movies. So
Yep.
if you do have a big project and it's in the studio and it requires that, I'm all about that because that truly is a
Okay.
movie. But don't send me something that's supposed to sound like you're playing in a club that is not you playing at a club.
Understood.
I'm not talking to you, John, because I know you get it, but I'm letting the world out there know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate
Bob, it
it.
was a pleasure.
Have a
Let's
good
stay in
one.
touch.
Bye bye.
Take care.